What's up, guys? Daniel Savage here. In today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you guys about trend lines. As you can see right here, we're looking at that GBP JPY trade that most likely had you guys like, damn, after we entered on our Fibonacci zone, we got stopped out because our stop loss is 50 pips and we hit, above, what, 62 pips maybe? Oh, look at that, right on the dot. Let's put that back. So the reason why I didn't take a loss on this trade and I entered right here is because I entered right after this rejection. And the reason I entered after this rejection and barely had no drawdown was because I had a descending trend line in place. So when I draw my descending trend lines or my ascending trend lines, basically I look at the 4 hour just to get some clarity. Let's look on the 4 hour really quick. Spread that up a little bit, get clean. I'm not going to run my trend line at the highest point because this is not the push that basically I want to go off of. It's a really big wick, but I'm waiting till we get to the final, big push over here, and I'm going to run it from that trend line before our market structure changed. So I'm going to put this little magnet on right here that's on the left side right here, and I'm going to grab our trend line and I'm going to just throw it right here on this wick, and I'm going to draw this trend line all the way down, and I'm going to put it on this wick right here. Now I'm going to go to the 1 hour. So when I go to the 1 hour, it's always going to look a little messed up, but it's fine. You guys can come back in here and make it look pretty, make it look nice. You guys might have to fix it. This will happen almost every other time, but that's just what you got to do. So when we first switched to our 1 hour, it did look messed up. We just made it pretty. Now let's go back to our 4 hour, and as you guys can see, it doesn't look effed up. So we ran it from here, we fixed it on our 1 hour, and now this is how our trend line looks. So for a trend line, in my opinion, for it to be valid, it's got to have more than 3 bounces or 3 touches. So we got 1 right here, 2 right here, and 3 right here, and boom, another 4 with a rejection. You'll always see really big movement after our 3rd bounce, as you guys can see. You guys can back test this and you guys can see that, wow, I'm telling the truth. So let's go back to our 1 hour. So on this Fibonacci play right here, the reason I didn't take a loss was because I had this descending trend line. And since our 50 and our 618 zone was so close by, I wanted to wait for a final, break and retest and basically a rejection of this zone. So look at this. Right here, let's get this right here. Right here, we broke through and retested it. But since this is a 4 hour trend line, if we break and retest it on the 1 hour, but we don't break and retest it on the 4 hour, as you guys can see, a big wick, you can't just go in there and go for a long, because since we're drawing it on the 4 hour, the 4 hour chart is way more powerful than the 1 hour chart trend line. So let's get back over here. So I waited for some type of rejection, and this was my rejection right here. I did see that on the 30-minute. So basically we did close, reject it, and guess what this is? This is an evening star. If you guys know anything about evening stars and candlestick patterns, this basically gave you every single sign that this thing was going to go down. So let's go back to the 1 hour. I wanted to show you guys that after, but I fucked up and I showed you guys sooner than normal. So I waited for that candle to literally almost close within almost a minute of closing, and I got in right here with my stop loss to the 800 zone, and basically I rode this thing down all the way to our take profit 2, and that was a whopping 117 pips. So that's why I didn't take a loss on this trade, because I applied my trend line in confluence with my Fibonacci short, and I had a really good entry right here to literally have no drawdown, almost no drawdown, and to hit 100 pips take profit. So let's go here back on the 4-hour, and let me give you more examples of how I use my trend lines as in confluence with my Fibonacci's. Let's draw a trend line here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's draw it here. Boom. We got a nice little channel right here. So let's go back to the 1 hour before I even speak. Remember, guys, you will have to, make it look all pretty, play with it, make it look nice. One, two, three, 4, 5 bounces. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you guys can see, that in my opinion is a valid trend line. So this is how I use my trend lines in confluence. So as you guys see, we got 1, 2, and 3. You always see some movement on the third bounce, just like how I just showed you a minute ago. You see it here happening live. So basically, I already had my trend line, waiting for that third bounce. So when I used my Fibonacci by, holy Jesus, let me take this freaking magnet off. Let's highlight our Fibonacci zone. I waited for that buy right here. Boom. That perfect entry after our third and official bounce of our trend line to bring this Fibonacci long into a whole other level of confluence. Basically, my fib, my fib layout just became super valid after this rejection right here, that I knew I was going to keep going up. That's when I tell you guys, like, yo, this was my best month ever on the shittiest month ever, because how my strategy is so insanely accurate and very, my trading style is very hard. Is very hard to literally just apply and not make good money once you've applied it how you're supposed to apply it. Like, it's really hard to lose. It's really hard. So I like to use my trend lines as in confluence with my Fibonacci's and my supply and demand zones also, and my resistance and support zones. I will be talking about supply and demand zones in the next lesson. But as you guys can see, I like to use those in confluence. Boom, we got another bounce. We can draw another Fibonacci right here from this wick to this wick. Boom, our 618 entry for our fourth bounce. Could have got in here 2 times. Right here, 200 pips, waited, come back here, see some disrespectful shit right here, trend line being respected. Oh, look at that, could have kept riding it up. Boom, another 100 pips, or take profit too. Like, guys, I'm telling you, like, this is insane how, like, if you guys can just use multiple confluences all in one, like, it's so hard to lose. I'm using my Fibonacci long with my supply and demand zones, which I will be discussing. I'm using my support and my resistance and my Fibonacci's with the trend lines. So right here we have a form of resistance. Let's put that red. Our trend line, our Fibonacci long, look at this. These are 3 confluences right here, all in one. This being our resistance, which was rejected. We tried to break through, we couldn't, but we officially made this resistance our support because we broke through right here, came back to retest it, closed over it to make it a valid buy, and We waited for that other bounce right in the zone to literally just take this buy with literally no worries. So we got our trend line, we got our Fibonacci long, and we got our resistance that just officially became our support. There's nothing that could make this shit go down. God himself could have made this shit go down, and he would have failed. You guys would have won this trade off the bat. Literally, God himself could have not, make this trade go down. So when I use trend lines, I like to use them as a form of confluence. I don't like to trade them just like that. I really don't. But if I am going to trade them, like I said, I trade them like as a form of support and resistance, but mostly with confluence, sorry, as confluence. Wait for those breaks and those retests like this right here. We broke through, came back down to retest. Could have bought right there, 50 pip stop loss, 50 to 100 pip take profit. Look at that. Almost hit the 100 pip, but we definitely got our 50 pip. Within, guess what? A little mini Fibonacci zone. Right here. Right there. So this is it for this video, guys. When it comes to trend lines, I only trade them as a form of confluences. But if I'm not going to trade them as a form of confluence, then I will basically, just be using them and trading them the same exact way I like to trade support and resistance. I wait for that retest after that breakthrough, and then I go in and I take the buy. So let me put this Fibonacci right back where I had it. Take this off so we're not confused. Highlight our zone. Right there. Boom. Beautiful. Almost hit take profit 3. So look at that. Trend line broken and retested inside of our Fibonacci market structure break to the upside with the bigger picture, and boom. I would have showed you guys this in the first Fibonacci video, but I was saving it for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys have any questions, you guys can always send me a DM. I will be discussing more about this, doing webinars and one-on-ones with students, helping them, get more clarity about this, in the graduation course, which will be launching right after this one. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next one.